Suddenly, nobody is thinking about business. Nobody is planning when to travel. Nobody is busy reading for an examination. Nobody is saving for a vacation. Clubbing is not coming to mind. People now realize that above the hustle and bustle, it is life that really matters. No thanks to coronavirus. Our communities that were overpopulated have suddenly been rid of holdups and congestions. No more rushing to work and catching the early bus. No more struggling to catch the attention of bosses or superiors, as social distancing is now the new world order. No thanks to coronavirus. Our spending lavishly on parties is no longer a trend, as hotels and brothels are shut down, casinos and gambling arenas are deserted, while the almighty football leagues across the world have bowed to the power of a tiny, invisible creature. No thanks to coronavirus. Money has become useless to the rich as wealth has failed the wealthy, while the powerful is rendered powerless. The rich, who used to fly out of the country just to buy ice cream, are now left at the mercy of the local grocer, who he has not spared a glance in the past 6 months. Fathers now understand what it means to have a family, while some mothers now understand how risky it is to place their children above their husbands. Perhaps politicians will turn a new leaf. Perhaps they might begin to pay attention to that local health center that has lacked as little as a syringe for the past couple of months, since their health heavens overseas are no longer accessible with the closure of both local and international flights. No thanks to coronavirus. Now we understand that going to worship places is not the same as going to God. As more than ever, your faith alone is not enough to save you from the present realities. Perhaps religious leaders will learn that it is better to build men than to build 100,000 capacity auditoriums. Of what use are those beautiful edifices now, when the members don't even feel that today is a worship day, and salvation from COVID-19 far outweighs eternity and destination of souls? No thanks to coronavirus. Earning a degree may no longer be a priority, as mothers no longer need schools to teach their children the importance of cleanliness and hygiene. Education might no longer be a do-or-die affair, as professors are now in their rooms, their certificates and degrees totally useless. No thanks to coronavirus. Whether COVID-19 is the handiwork of men or a divine arrangement, one thing is sure: when this is all over, a little sanity will be restored to humanity, and the world will move back a few centuries when men still had their sense of being human. All thanks to coronavirus.
Nigeria, largest oil producer in Africa and 6th largest in the world, is rich in natural resources like natural gas, tin, iron ore, coal, limestone, niobium, lead, zinc, and arable land. But despite this endowment, the country's growing population, while it's in poverty, while its misfortune is blamed on corruption. When President Muhammadu Buhari took over the mantle of leadership on May 29, 2015, he vowed to combat corruption in Nigeria, no matter whose org seeks gold.
Corruption is a hydra-headed monster and a cankerworm that undermines the fabric of all societies.
This was clearly indicated in the arrest of Colonel Dasuki, retired, the then National Security Advisor of President Jonathan, who was charged to court by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over the massive scam in weapons and defense procurement that led to the misuse of 3 trillion naira defense budget since 2011 under the guise of fighting the notorious Boko Haram menace. 5 years later, the president's anti-corruption drive is yielding laudable results, redeeming the country's dented image in the eyes of international communities. Corruption is the greatest obstacle preventing Nigeria from achieving its enormous potential. It drains billions of dollars each year from the country's economy, stifles development, and weakens the social contract between the government and its people.
President Muhammadu Buhari as a person has begun a fight. At least if you are going to a journey, you need to start. At least the man has taken a giant step. In fact, in the history of Nigeria, there is no any president that has fought this way.
In 2012, Nigeria was estimated to have lost over $400 billion to corruption since independence in 1960, indicating that both past military regimes and civil administrations are culprits of corruption. An assumption of power, President Muhammadu Buhari declared anti-graft war against all forms of corruption in Nigeria, which has remained top priority for his government.
Our frontline anti-corruption agencies, namely the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC), the Code of Conduct Bureau (CCB), and the Code of Conduct Tribunal (CCT), have become revitalized and more proactive in the pursuit of perpetrators of corrupt practices, irrespective of their social status and political persuasion.
His administration has worked more closely with the US, the UK, and various Middle Eastern countries to seize and repatriate assets from public officials that are suspected to have been purchased with illicit funds. Nigeria's leading anti-corruption agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, has also become more active. The Anti-Graft Agency has launched a series of investigations into former high-ranking public officials from previous administrations, former cabinet officials, state governors, and senior civil servants with more sent to jail. He set in motion the Treasury Single Account to regulate the level of accountability and transparency in the financial resources of the government.
Effective application of TSA and the bank verification number BVN, we have been able to remove 23,000 ghost workers from our payroll, thereby saving billions that would have been stolen.
Buhari has made it difficult for corrupt officials to perpetrate their act of corruption. This is a strong warning to corrupt officials and enemies of Nigeria that the quest to rid Nigeria of corruption is a task that must be done under the present administration.
Muhammadu Buhari is trying his own best to redefine the system of the corruption. He tries his own best to make everything in order to wipe all the bad leaders that they already put Nigeria into the system that is not in order.
The anti-corruption fight is a success. Nigeria is being launched from the era of corruption, when corruption was a political culture, to this era the president has made anti-corruption and evidence-based leadership.
A clean environment, they say, is a healthy environment, as cleanliness is also next to godliness. Our hygiene is a reflection of our moral stance, and our environment is key to our existence, survival, and happiness anywhere in the world. How safe are you in your environment? How secured are you from both internal and external threats in your homes? How well do you dispose or manage your waste? What can be termed as waste in our homes?
Once you exhaust the use of a particular item, that means you have already done and it becomes a waste.
Waste can be said to be all unwanted things that can be thrown after use. So, anything in your home that is no longer needed or useful is a waste. However, it can be recycled and made useful.
All waste can still be turned to some useful purpose. Even the organic waste can still be turned to some useful purpose when you turn it into energy.
When our environment is not properly cleaned or eradicated of waste, chances of disease increase. Indiscriminate dumping of waste should be avoided, especially in gutters.
Once we find any operator not disposing of properly or inside the grasses where they're not supposed to be, what we do is we really prosecute them. We take them, we prosecute them to ensure that they deliver the waste in the proper dump site.
This should be done in order to prevent stagnant water, as mosquitoes breed on them, also giving off polluted air. Let's focus on solid and liquid waste. Solid waste are in hard form, while liquid waste are molten or wet.
This pipe connects water within town to our environment and also serves as an outlet. When the pressure is much from the force of the water, it floods and becomes stagnant, causing a problem to us.
There are different sources of waste products, which encompasses domestic, industrial, agricultural, animal, biomedical, mineral, and nuclear. Blocked drainages with stagnant water breeds mosquitoes. World Health Organization has accounted that mosquitoes kill faster than AIDS, and it remains the only known cause of malaria. Household drainage should be properly fixed and managed in order to curb domestic liquid waste. Often, the waste decay and spread foul odor in the surrounding area.
It's affected us seriously. Even fly, they disturb the entire environment area. For our cooking, massive fly, they disturb. And so several times we are stopping to not drop this refuse here, but people refuse to listen to us.
Waste should be disposed of in the right manner or recycled. Most importantly, we should ensure to give adequate management to waste at all times.
People should key in and then encourage the families to start sorting their waste, and then on a weekly basis, our trucks are going around to collect all those waste separately and be taken to the recovery center, so to ensure that these wastes are processed and packaged properly.
The unknown thing about the mushy waste is that it can be transformed into golden items. Keep your environment clean, safe and secured. Most importantly, do not waste waste.
Lord Sky on the beat.
livelihood? To some, the available becomes the desired. In a little landscape in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, is a dump site where some persons have made livelihood out of.
It is 20 years for this dump site. It is 20 years.
In order to make ends meet, a group of scavengers take it upon themselves to settle therein, making it their abode, since they are mistaken as thieves when they scavenge for recyclable items.
So instead of staying idle, doing nothing, all those cops will be coming around, looking at us, suspecting us, that kind of a thing. So we decided to come here and stay here so that we can protect our dignity and then to help the country again, instead of living in a bad life. It's better we at least create something that will be aiming to solve problems, at least to help our family.
In this community, there is a life just like every other settlement. In this site, 90% of the things used are recycled. There is shelter, food, water, shops, and smiles, even when the supplies are substandard. So those are the things you recycle, and this is where you stay?
This is particularly the place we live. We have some, the other side again.
Okay, let's take a look. So you actually use, you use nylon to build...
To bag them.
To build the... where you stay?
Yes, of course, we use nylon, those what do you call it? This tarpaulin.
Tarpaulin.
Of course,
and plywoods are not useful anymore. So this is actually an aspect of recycling.
Recycling, of course.
Okay, this is the well.
Come now.
Is this where you drink from?
That's where we drink water from.
So this is the only source of water you have in here?
Yes. The president himself is going to look about this. Both citizens. If it is in the night now, when people are far asleep, all those water will gather. You will see the color will change.
And to be clean?
It will be cleaner than this, yes.
But this is what you drink?
That is what we drink. Like now, when I feel thirsty, I will just come here and no matter, I will just rely on God. Allah need me carry me, and just I will take it.
For shelter, unwanted flex banners, sack bags and plywoods, etc. are recycled to create an apartment. In the absence of cooking gas, rubber sleepers and other combustible items are used as fuel to create fire. Whenever garbage is brought in trucks, the inhabitants of the settlement sort and pack the valuables, either for recycling purpose or for exports.
Ana yin sababbin abubuwa da shi, cokula, baho da shauransu yana kaiwa 500 haka 600. Kudin shi motai, kudin kayan.
Kudin kayan da kai lodi na gaba daya
600,000. Yes.
Valuables extracted from the garbage, especially metal scraps, are being measured and traded according to its weight for income.
There are few parts, like some of these parts you look at either. Some of the parts that are valuable to them, we used to give it up to them and collect some little.
Although they tend to be quite comfortable in this environment, in reality they are faced with health hazards, in as much as they are trying to salvage our environment by scavenging for recyclable materials and making life out of trash. It is pertinent for recycling companies, relevant authorities, to look into the safety of these people, at least where there is trash, light infrastructure and development.
that Nigeria has always been in perpetual search for unity and peace is almost an understatement. Less than 6 years into self-rule, having gained political independence from her colonial masters in 1960, the nation was plunged into an unavoidable civil war in which more than 2 million people were killed. While it is still a lot difficult to cut through the fog of myth and propaganda that obscured the conflict to explain the cause of the war, more than 50 years after, those things that tend to divide us are reappearing with frightening possibilities. There is therefore no other period in the history of our great country that Nigerians need peace and unity more desperately than now. The phenomenon of unity and peace has been rediscovered the world over as a subject of public debate and of deep philosophical inquiry. Even though peace is generally a relative term anywhere in the world, the imperative for an all-encompassing peace and unity in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. A nation that has been so bruised and violated like Nigeria, where injustice and impunity of all kinds have free reins, dialogue, peace and unity should be the watchwords. In fact, at the end of the Civil War in 1970, what our leaders ought to have done was to call for and host a national dialogue to cut a new deal that will move the nation forward. They didn't do this. Rather, they were smug in their self-assurance. Unfortunately, they saw the entire polity as their war booty and were blissfully unaware of its consequences. The outcome was that desperation among Nigerians became infectious. Even when the military were pressured to hand over political power to their civilian counterparts in 1979, they hurriedly put together a phony constituent assembly and drew up a constitution without the input of the authentic representatives of the Nigerian people, rather than opening up a forum for Nigerian dialogue as a forerunner to peace and unity. The upshot was that the Second Republic was soon to collapse like a pack of cards. In 1993, after the annulment of one of the most placid presidential elections ever conducted in Nigeria by the military under General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, the fragile peace and unity of the country became atrophied and the people openly canvassed for a sovereign national conference in which they would openly discuss the basis for the corporate existence of the country. But the military, in their wisdom, repudiated the idea. General Sani Abacha, who took over power from the head of the interim national government, Chief Ernest Shonekan, succeeded in husbanding a national conference in 1994, just as a ploy to buy acceptability from the people to gain legitimacy for his new regime. But despite the stark illogicality of the military practice, a few courageous politicians led by the late iconoclastic Yoruba leader, Chief Abraham Adesoya, called for and hosted a well-attended and all-politicians dialogue in Lagos in 1997. This helped in galvanizing support for the massive agitation for a return to civil democratic governance, which became a reality on May 29, 1999, when an elected civil administration was inaugurated. Again, the administration of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo from 1999 to 2007, the first civilian government after a protracted period of military dictatorship plagued by rapacity and greed, bungled a great opportunity to host a formidable national political conference in 2005, due largely to the alleged plot for tenure elongation of President Olusegun Obasanjo. The Goodluck Jonathan administration, by successfully husbanding the last national conference in 2014, in which Nigerians of all faculties were adequately represented, succeeded in providing a platform on which the nation would be reinvented. Unfortunately, the then opposition politicians were currently calling the shots, boycotted and repudiated the conference. Indeed, many still continue to associate dialogue with a prudish Victorian morality or with crude attempts by government to legislate peace and unity. Yet, unity and peace remain elusive items on our national agenda. It is against this backdrop that we must think it's imperative to, among other things, create a robust intellectual and integrative interaction to kindle the patriotic spirit of Nigerians towards building a bridge of unity across various divides in the country. identify and celebrate icons of peace and unity, and advance progressive currents on the front burner of our national discourse. There should exist a body of educated and experienced professionals established to facilitate partnership and interaction between the state and non-state actors, which must embark on active peace and unity initiative in our beloved country, Nigeria. For those Nigerians who think that it is still business as usual, that the country would ordinarily come out of the mess and self-inflicted injuries we have brought round about us, there is every reason for us to pause and look backwards. The ongoing pockets of crisis and militancy in some parts of the country and agitations for self-determination by certain ethnic nationalities appear to be succinct replay of the 1964 Western Nigeria regional crisis that culminated in the January 1966 unfortunate development and the concomitant civil war. We are all witnesses to how the well-thought-out idea of the national comfort, which started showing a silver lining in the horizon, was ambushed at the tail end by apostles of religious and ethnic divisions from within the attendees, who invented ethnic and tribal skirmishes to thwart the awe-inspiring outcome of the confab. Unfortunately, the already mitigated and transformed diversity has turned into a jigsaw laden with negative perceptions and manifestations, accentuating the inherent cleavages of the Nigerian state. The national conference, which was about to whistle a happy tune, ironically ended in a fiasco. Old wounds were opened, causing new cleavages to widen existing fault lines, while partisan political actors continue to fuel the challenges. Some of the apparent fault lines include religion, ethno-cultural and geopolitical configurations, party affiliations, and war of attrition. These have further blunted all efforts geared, as it were, towards combating terrorism and crime in the country. The resumption of senseless killings in the Middle Belt and across the country, with the seeming vulnerability of the security agents to terrorists and bandits or kidnappers, is unacceptable. The bandits and kidnappers are progressively closing in on the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. It is therefore imperative that we redirect the swing of public opinion, discourses and perceptions by highlighting, promoting, consolidating and celebrating our positive narratives for the sustenance of unity and a peaceful coexistence. While the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has done so well in the effort to combat the Boko Haram sect, the people of this country should support the government through active participation in positive dialogue intervention. The media should embark on deliberate efforts at dousing tension in the country. Newspaper intellectuals and columnists should promote dialogue, peace and unity to the front burner of our national discourse instead of provocative smear-mongering as critical enterprise. In the absence of unity and peace, development is often seen in the dividing line between savagery and barbarism. Hence, the imperative for Nigerians to preach peace, unity, love, forgiveness and mutual understanding to change our narrative. Yes, we can overcome belligerence, embrace love, and prove our nationhood.
One beautiful thing about nature are those gifts we get freely, like the spectacular Zuma Rock with the monolith human face, which is just behind me. Zuma Rock is found along Zuba Kaduna Expressway. There have been so many strange stories about Zuma Rock, but today we are here to find out if those stories are true. Come along.
Zuma Rock, the monolithic instable with a human face, is located in Madanla, Niger State, to the north of Abuja. It was once described as the unquestionable watchman of the FCT, with its sandy consignment that hangs like a hazard over Zuba town. The other mountains in and around it stay a considerable distance from it, which the Zuba people see as a form of respect being paid by the other mountains to Zuma Rock for its royal presence in the locality. It is impossible for visitors and tourists who come to Abuja not to see the magnificent structure, as it has always been a center of attraction for them. Although it is located at Madanla, Niger State, it has over time become a major symbol of Abuja landscape due to its close proximity to the city center. Behind the rock is the Zuma Rock Nigerian village, which was built to accommodate tourists visiting the rock, but due to underdevelopment, the place has been abandoned. History has it that Zuma Rock was first located in the thick forest by the people of Zuba and the Kuru in the 18th century when they settled around the rock. The Zuma people named the rock Zumwan, which means the place of catching guinea fowl. Thus, the name Zuma was derived from this name. On getting to the forest, they settled within a mile radius around it and constructed a group of settlements. On discovering that the rock had strong spirit, they worshipped it, offered constant sacrifice, and organized festival in honor of the rock, thus within its environment. This rock is regarded as the strongest idol both of its size and strong spirit. Over time, it has been used for defensive purpose by the Gwari natives against invading neighboring tribes. Zuma Rock inhabits a village close to it called Kudu Nasarawa. The residents of the community spoke highly about the rock and how the rock being around them has given them comfort that every other story being said about the rock are false.
My grandfather was the first person to live in this community, and which today my father is the chief of Dakwa. Yeah.
So who are the first people? What language?
Gbagi by tribe.
Okay, that means everybody here are Gbagi.
Everybody are Gbagi, but we now have a stranger, different language now. But we in the indigenous Gbagi by tribe.
About this Zuma Rock is a friendly rock. Because our children used to go there and play. Nothing happened to them on this rock. Even my children used to follow them to the rock, play, come back, there is peace. We don't have anything here.
You know, in that area, sometimes some people will go and kill people in other places. They will now bring their dead body to throw them away there.
So, you see our community, development not there, because people are fear for this, what in the call White House. Some people are talk about bad issue about this thing. Since I stay here for 3 years, I never see anything happen with this place.
When they asked about the White House, which has been there for over 20 years, still not completed, and many have said it's due to the rock being close to it, they gave a different opinion concerning the White House.
Maybe the hotel or the owner of the hotel has a problem with the rock, I don't know. But anytime they complete that hotel, you see all the glass will fall out. All the glasses will fall out. That's why they abandoned the hotel.
For how many years?
I say 1989 to Abuja. When Abuja is in Suleja.
When I'm here, some years, that's the glass used to fall down. But I've never heard about any bad incident there. Even some children in this community used to go to that place and wash clothes, play, and come back home. Nothing evil there.
You know, some children, they are playing inside. And anytime, if you enter, even now as you interview me, just enter the place now, you see people inside. Nothing happened with this house or this kind of thing.
Yes, everybody's saying that. So what about the White House that's there?
The White House, honestly, that White House, the only that I will tell you, at times, with like 2 weeks, they used to find some criminals over there. And people that kidnap you one day, they will say it's around that place again, that White House. At times, people used to run away and hide in there.
Okay, there's a particular water that they say it has been there for years.
Yeah, there's water there.
What's the force behind the water? Because
honestly, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. It's behind my reputation. Because there is spiritual problem.
And here comes another side of the story from the same community, which gives a different view concerning Zuma Rock, and it seems confusing.
The issue of the rock and the White House is true. It's not rumors. Like 2 weeks ago, they kidnapped more than 20 people around that rock. 1 week ago, they kidnapped like 3 to 6 people over there. And every day, what we find is dead body. Like 3 days, they rob around there. I will see how police soldier checking point there. Midnight they rob, they kidnap people, love there. And if you find that, you see soldiers there. There are soldier checking point. And all these things still going on. And every blessing day, we don't used to have peace because of that place.
What are the things that happen?
A time you can just find people are running around from day to here. Criminal, kidnapper, look at dead body. A lot of challenge over there.
So are you trying to say that there's spiritual forces in that?
There are spiritual forces there. It's not, I'm trying to say, this is what is happening there.
The resident of Kudu Nashawa spoke concerning the challenges they have been facing and called on the government to come to their aid.
Challenges are road, first, water, we don't have water, light, we don't have light here.
No, we don't have water because even in my place here, last time I called a surveyor. They now come and survey the area. They say the water is not much. We just only used to go to across all this place to get water.
And it's safe for you?
Yes.
I'm Zoeva Hamza, TVN News.
People that have been quarantined are people that have been infected with coronavirus. But isolation is like me and you now, we are giving ourselves social distance. It's a kind of isolation.
Quarantine, isolation. You quarantine, you're there at home. Maybe with your family. Isolation, you'll be alone.
What I know about quarantine is about how to making love with your colleagues or share love with your colleagues. That is what I know about quarantine. Apart from that, I don't know anything about quarantine again.
To isolate yourself like 2 weeks. Quarantine is just like a holiday. Honestly, I don't know.
Understand by the word coronavirus?
Well, the word I understand for coronavirus is a disease. That is my way of understanding word of coronavirus. Okay. It's a pandemic disease that all over the world people are suffering on it now.
Okay. What is the difference between isolation and quarantine?
Well, from my understanding, isolation and quarantine, isolation is that somebody who has it already. Then quarantine is that maybe they tested the person or you went to some place that there's such much of that coronavirus, then he'll be in isolation for that. For that 2 weeks, if there's no problem, means he can go away, do his own activities as normal as every time.
Okay, if you come back from somewhere, then you isolate yourself?
Yeah, isolate yourself for 2 weeks. If there's nothing sure, means you are allowed to go to everywhere.
So what about quarantine?
Quarantine is that somebody who already have it. That is my way of understanding. Who already have the sickness, then should be in that quarantine, taking care of himself with some drugs if God help, because there's no vaccine. Physically, there's no vaccine to cure the sickness. So I think for that you should have to be for 2 weeks or more than that until the person is getting safe.
Your name?
My name is Thelma. Thelma.
What do you know about coronavirus?
Coronavirus is a virus.
Have you heard of isolation, quarantine? Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have.
What is the difference between isolation and quarantine?
Nothing, they are the same.
What is it the same?
Isolation is like to isolate yourself like 2 weeks. Quarantine is just like a holiday. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not prepared for this. Don't.
Why are not prepared for it?
I'm not prepared for it. Don't worry.
Coronavirus is the new sickness where everybody is aware of, and it's very effective to every human being on earth, which you can contact from your neighbor by shaking hand and chesting and some other things, or talking to who get it, and without covering your nose with this can face mask, you will contact the sickness easily.
Okay. What's the difference between isolation and quarantine?
That one, sure. I'm very sorry. I'm not too much understand about it.
Which one do you understand most?
What I know is all about this sickness of it, coronavirus. But some of us say we contact from animals. Why we experience it within ourselves, that we quickly contact with our neighbor, but we don't know how come about the sickness in Nigeria. All we know that they say they carry it from outside to Nigeria. That is what we know.
But you've not heard of quarantine before, or isolation? You've not heard something like that before?
Quarantine is what I know about quarantine is about how to making love with your colleagues or share love with your colleagues. That's what I know about quarantine. Apart from that, I don't know anything about quarantine again.
What about isolation?
Isolation is something as in... sorry, I can't even explain more than that. I'm very sorry for that.
The difference between isolation and quarantine is that people that are being quarantined are people that have been infected with coronavirus. But isolation is like me and you now, we are giving ourselves social distance. It's a kind of isolation. You can watch, you are under quarantine, means you have already contaminated the disease. You have been in quarantine in one particular hospital. At that process, they are giving some medication to recover. And let me tell you one thing, coronavirus is not a death sentence. There is still a hope. You may contact it at the end of the day, you may be well.
You say people who have contacted it are people who have quarantine. What if the people coming from outside country? Does it mean all of them have contacted it?
No, those people that are coming from outside country, that's how they check them. They will check your temperature. If your temperature is running high, they will need to keep you for a while. They will still test you. If you are being contaminated, they will isolate you. You get me? And that's
It's coronavirus. It's a virus that is killing people now. Actually, we learned that from China. That brought the virus and spread it, and it's killing a lot of people. And see, like Nigeria, everybody's at home because they're afraid of the virus. Nobody wants to die.
Have you heard of isolation, quarantine? Have you heard of it before?
Yeah.
What is the difference between the two?
The two, to me, there's not much different now. Quarantine, isolation. You quarantine, you're there at home, maybe with your family. Isolation, you be alone. Maybe a similar difference. Like me, isolation, only me and my house.
So person make coronavirus, government carrying. What you are carrying to?
I don't understand.
If person get coronavirus now, government come carry. Where the carry go?
According to them, it's an isolation center.
So the isolation center for your house now?
Yes, I have it at home. So only me in my house.
So do you have coronavirus?
Me? No, I'm preventing myself.
Why can't the isolation now?
That's what Nigeria wants. You should stay at home.
So they hold now, that's isolation?
Yes.
So your house is isolation center?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a virus. What I mean by virus is that they are unseen things that is very, very small that enter somebody's body. Then from there it will start circulating in the person's body and maybe and give that person a problem.
Yes, so we have quarantine, we have isolation. What is the difference between the two?
Quarantine is when somebody goes into a place where the doctors will look at him very well and know exactly what he's suffering from, whether it is that disease. Then self-isolation is that probably where there is no doctor, you take yourself out, maybe lock yourself up till the necessary authorities will come and look at you.
So if you're on self-isolation, does it mean you have coronavirus?
Sorry?
If you are in a self-isolation, does it mean you have coronavirus?
No, probably you are thinking you might have. You are not sure. So, but you want the relevant authorities to check whether you have.
Okay, what is different between isolation and quarantine?
I don't know that one.
You've never heard of quarantine before?
I hear it.
So what can you say about quarantine?
Because of this coronavirus, I'm going to come out.
So what do you understand by quarantine?
Quarantine means because of this coronavirus, people don't go out, people their house, or they go anywhere.
What about isolation?
No, I don't know for that one.
The coronavirus, as from the information we have been hearing over the media, and from the write-ups and articles that we have reading, we made to understand that coronavirus is a virus that is killing people. So that is all what I can say.
Okay. You've heard of quarantine, isolation, you've heard of it?
Yes, I have heard about quarantine.
How can you differentiate the two? What is the difference between them?
Yeah, scientifically, The two, they are almost the same. Quarantine, normally people, we consider it as a person that is already infected with the virus. So it's under quarantine so that he will receive treatment. While isolation, the person is yet to be scientifically tested. So the person, they kept him to observe him very well so that they will monitor him before they will put him in quarantine for proper treatment. So in the other way around, they are similar. But the only difference that isolation, you are under monitor so that they will make a confirmation whether you are affected or not. While quarantine, the test has been carried out and they know that you have it, so you are under treatment, isolated.
Coronavirus is a disease that it was coming from China. So that's why Nigerian people, that becomes a problem, serious disease.
Okay, have you heard of quarantine, isolation? Have you heard of it before?
Yes, I have of quarantine.
So what is the difference between quarantine and isolation?
Quarantine means that if you have been traveling from Lagos, maybe you have come from the Lagos, so you need to be quarantined yourself. After, if you have been quarantined, if you're having a virus, you will now isolate yourself among the people that doesn't have it.
Have you heard of coronavirus?
Yes.
Have you heard of quarantine, isolation? Have you heard of that before? Quarantine, isolation.
Quarantine.
Isolation.
Like.
The word quarantine, isolation. Have you heard of them before?
No.
Have you heard of quarantine before?
No, sir.
What can you say about quarantine? What can you say about the word?
Okay. Rego holo.
So you've heard of quarantine, isolation. What is the difference between the quarantine and isolation?
The difference is that you see a lot of things are happening. Like if you can see, the massive are suffering.
I mean the difference between quarantine and isolation.
No, actually I don't have any issue in that. So maybe.
I don't know. I don't just know. Let me be sincere to you.
You can't differentiate them.
I can't differentiate them. Seriously. Almost the same thing now. Quarantine.
Why do you say they're the same thing?
Quarantine. An isolation. Boss, I don't know. Seriously. I don't know.
Ross, the difference between quarantine and isolation.
I understand your question. You say what?
The difference between quarantine and isolation.
Me, I don't know the two differences. But the only thing we say, me, I want Nigeria do for us, we say, may they bring this shutdown and do. Because this lockdown, no, they help boys. I they work, but now they don't stop workers like this. Thing they affect me bad.
I mean, isolation is a place that they put those people that they have COVID-19, right? That's the isolation center. While the coronavirus is the disease that they say caused by animal kingdom.
What is quarantine?
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Okay, you don't know about quarantine?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, sir.
All right, thank you.
Good, sir. Good, sir. So what do you understand by coronavirus?
Coronavirus is a sickness where it's spread for Nigeria, for all over the world.
Okay. So what is quarantine and what is isolation?
I didn't know about the quarantine.
Sir? No idea?
No ideas.
Thank you, sir. You don't have a coronavirus?
No, you know, yeah.
You don't have coronavirus before?
I know coronavirus, I know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
So what is quarantine?
You know, quarantine, I don't know the problem is in Nigeria. I know for everybody in Europe, they come any problem in Nigeria, the coronavirus, the time any people have money, they carry come to Nigeria, coronavirus.
Quite alright, the gloves play very important roles in clinical settings, but there is little widespread of evidence that they are used to the members of the public. It may also come as a surprise, but recently, doctors in the United States and other healthcare providers say wearing gloves won't give you an added layer of protection against the risk of coming into contact with germs. Most experts say a pair of gloves won't lower your risk of contracting COVID-19, mostly because wearing gloves provides a false sense of security that bare hands do not. People often don't understand that a glove could transfer germs to any and all surfaces that touch. Take for instance, handling your phone with the same hand gloves that has been exposed to germs and still use the phone afterwards to receive a call, thereby coming in direct contact with your face. COVID-19 doesn't transmit through skin contact on your hands, but rather bacteria and viruses enter your system through mucous membranes on your body, that is, the eyes, the nose and the mouth, or via respiratory droplets in close proximity. Conclusively, the hand gloves are not designed for prolonged use or daily use, but if you must use one, wash your hands with soap and water or use a hand sanitizer afterwards. Remember, spread the knowledge and not the virus.